Would you let your children practice a ritual written by Aleister Crowley himself, the self-professed wickedest man alive? Because that's exactly what this new Disney Elio movie is teaching your children. Sigil magic, crystal magic, summoning aliens. It's not fiction, this is spiritual warfare, and you will not believe what's hidden in plain sight in this new Disney movie. And you have this fun character, he goes out into a field wearing literally this demon on his shirt, laying in a sigil and saying, aliens abduct me. Isn't that the perfect setup for Satan? He wants your children to actively engage, whether it's pull out a Ouija board, pull out the tarot cards, seances, whatever. He wants you to reach out to him.
They're known sigils that summon specific demons for specific things. Welcome back, Mikey.
Thanks, man. It's good to be here because this is a perfect platform to talk about this right here. I mean, you guys talk about Disney. Satan has taken the gloves off. He's punching the children. Have you guys heard anything about Elio?
I think I've seen the trailer to it. I obviously know it's about aliens and stuff like this, but I mean, I can imagine it's probably following suit with the rest of them. Yeah. Somehow it's going to be some Gnostic story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think I watched an early teaser, but after that I didn't.
When it first came out,
I'm probably going to be surprised.
Yeah. I saw a teaser for it like a year ago, and I heard they haven't done a real good job at promoting this, but it seems like they're ramping up right now.
Anything Pixar does is going to be big. So
right.
Got a nice little alien shirt on.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Do you see? What do you guys notice about this? Because
alien shirt.
Yeah, I mean, when have you ever seen an alien portrayed like the way that abductees describe them in a kids movie? I mean. You always see E.T. or Stitch from Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
But I've never seen the alien gray actually displayed in a kids movie. So that's a first, which I think is interesting.
What's with the one eye?
That's
and a patch on his left eye too. Well, the left eye is always covered. You see so many celebrities.
TLC, left eye, and all this stuff. There's a reason for that. Notice something above the dot. Or what is the dot above the eye?
Earth traveling around the sun.
Yeah, that's a solar symbol. So it's very interesting.
And Elio, is that a part of another word or something? Is that taken out of something else?
Yeah, well, check it out. So his name is, so I've been calling him Elio, but they say that Elio on the trailer, but Elio Solis. So what does that name mean? These words mean something.
Solus means something about the sun.
I know, right?
That's what it sounds like.
So look right here. This is straight from the wiki thing. This is the trivia. It says his name means sun. So does his surname. So his name means sun. Okay. So the hero is based off of the sun, which I think is interesting. And here you'll see it says the name Elio primarily means sun. Is derived from the Greek god Helios.
Oh, it makes sense. So his name is Elios or Helios.
Right. So he's, for one, his name means sun, but not just sun, the sun god. And solis is a Spanish word of the origin that means sun in Latin, but it also means something else. So Elio means sun. This comes from like the baby names and stuff based off of Helios. Just giving extra proof here. The Today Show said, what are some good baby names that mean sun? This was during the solar eclipse. And solus means solar, but interestingly enough, when I did the Latin Google translator, it says Sunday.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
So here's a Greek god, a Greek sun god, whose last name means Sunday. I think it's very prophetic,
Yeah, it really is. I mean, especially as the whole world is like discussing Sunday things right now. This is on the forefront of everybody's mind. So, I mean, to have something that's like extraterrestrial outside of this world that's pointing you towards this thing, it kind of makes it bigger than it is here. Right. Like we didn't make this up here. It's been in the universe or whatever.
He's supposed to be from Earth, but he's not. It's like he doesn't identify as being part of Earth. Everything is like part of the sun.
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah, or maybe we're the third rock from the sun. Everything points to the sun. The sun's the center of everything. But I do think it's interesting that he's the sun god and his last name's Sun. He's the hero of the movie. Okay. A lot of people that watch this channel know how to look for Gnostic themes. Is the hero have more in common with God or more in common with Satan? Vice versa. So why the eye patch? I do think that is interesting. The one eye. because in Egyptian
interesting.
mythology, the Eye of Horus, the Eye of Ra, I've looked into this, they both represent the sun, and they're both represented by one eye. So if it was just this, if there's no other markers, he just had one eye patch, I could let it slide. But he's the sun god. His name means sun god, and he's got one eye covered. I don't think that's a mistake.
Is this Egyptian symbol, is it the left or the right eye? Do we know?
This one's, you can see the...
it's the right eye.
Yeah, the
Right?
eye makeup is going outward like this right here.
Yeah.
So that is the right eye being revealed.
Yeah. Interesting.
So there's no coincidences in Hollywood, right? We talk about everything is a script writer, screenwriter, everything, especially in animation.
Right.
This is frame by frame. It's
Somebody
not
has to make this and sculpt it and
right. But what's interesting is down here it calls him the ambassador of planet Earth. So according to the Bible, who is like the leader of Earth, the ambassador of Earth? And like what scriptures are you guys thinking of?
Depends on what time you're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
interesting.
Well,
After the fall of
man, Satan is essentially the ambassador of Earth.
Right.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say it's Adam that was supposed to be the ambassador, and then he got
But
usurped.
After the cross, Jesus is the ambassador
Correct.
of Earth.
He's the second Adam.
So I've heard that too. But I'm just going by these scriptures here that say John 14:30 says, I will no longer talk much with you, for the ruler of this world is coming, and he has nothing in me. This is talking about Satan. John 12:31-33 says, now is the judgment of this world. Now the ruler of this world will be cast out. That's talking about Satan. Ephesians 6:12, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against the powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. In some translations, this says age. John 16:11 says that of judgment because the ruler of this world is judged. These are all talking about Satan. And 2 Corinthians 4:4 says, in whom the God of this world is blinding the minds of humanity. So Satan is literally called the ruler of this world, the God of this world. He's blinding all the world. And he had the power to offer Jesus all the kingdoms of the world. We know the story where Jesus was walking in the wilderness and Satan says, bow to me, I'll give you everything. But in Luke 4:5-6, it says, then the devil, taking him up on a high mountain, showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said to him, all this authority I give to you and their glory, for this has been delivered to me, and I give it to whomever I wish. So Satan's saying, I have the authority to give it. And Jesus didn't say, no way, buddy, I own the earth.
Yeah, I'm the one that made it.
Right. He knows this is true because from the way I understand it, dominion was given to Adam. When Adam disobeyed God and listened to Satan, he gave the keys to Satan.
Isn't that a crazy thought? I mean, if Jesus really was the creator of the world, like it says in John 1, right? Satan's trying to convince him that he owns it.
Yeah.
And he's like talking to the guy that made it.
I know.
It's just wild.
It is. This one, Job, I know a lot of people, I don't know how different people interpret this, but I believe that Satan presented himself to God in heaven as the representative of earth. Like this is like some kind of galactic meeting and people are representing other worlds that God made. The Bible says that he framed the worlds. There's all these things about that God made more than just earth. And that Satan went up there and God is asking, where'd you come from? And he said, from the earth. I'm representing earth. So he's literally the ambassador of earth. And so you got this hero who's the ambassador of earth, one eye covered. My name means the sun god, Sunday. I mean, this is nuts. Pixar made an official post because in the trailer, it actually says, fake it till you make it. And I was like, what are they even talking about? I didn't know the context. So they're saying, we've all heard the phrase, fake it until you make it. And in Pixar's final trailer for their upcoming film, Elio, you'll see that phrase in action as Elio portrays the leader of Earth to the beings among the galaxy. Isn't that like a perfect phrase for Satan? He isn't the God. He isn't God.
Right.
He wants to be God. He wants to be like God. So he's faking it until he thinks he can make it.
Right. I think the fact that he's claiming as he is the leader of Earth, I think in the trailer they had that little scene where he was basically saying that, right, to everyone else. But yeah, he's lying about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, is essentially what the devil's doing, right?
Exactly. So the bad guy, of course, and he's going to have
Lord, of course.
Yeah, Lord Grygon.
Yeah.
And here it says his occupation is Lord. Well, that's his occupation. He's the galactic ambassador. So he's the ruler of the whole galaxy.
Wow.
And notice where it talks about his family. They only give information for one person. It's his son. So the Lord, who is the ruler of the whole galaxy, has one son.
Has a son.
Interesting.
And that does come up later in here. So there wasn't a lot of information out here, so I asked Google, and AI kind of gave me an overview of information it was finding. I was asking, is Lord Glygon trying to destroy Earth? And it says that he's threatening to destroy the home of Elio, which is Earth, and Glordon's friends, which are aliens. So he's wanting to destroy multiple planets, it sounds like. The storyline is that he's potentially trying to threaten Earth because that's where Elio is from. And he is angry. This is Lord Glygon. He's angry about being rejected from the communiverse and seeks to enact his wrath against the ambassador whom turned him away.
Wow.
The ambassadors who turned away.
So this is the Lord character
Yes.
that is angry. Like, the Bible has a lot to say about
The Lord over all the galaxy is angry, and his wrath is coming on those who rejected him. But listen why they rejected him. The communiverse, however, prioritizes tolerance and open-mindedness over military strength, and leading to Grygon's rejection. So what is this teaching children?
I see it all the time. It seems like we're just being put constantly in these like situational ethics situations, right? So is there anything wrong with tolerance and open-mindedness? No, we should be tolerant of other people. We should be open-minded, right? Is there anything wrong with military strength? No, I mean, if that's what you need, military strength. God has military strength, right? But these two things are being pit against each other.
Yeah.
Two good things pit against each other. And we see this happening more and more and more as we approach the end of time.
Right.
Two good things pit against each other just for the purpose of dividing people. Yeah. And what happens is you uphold one and not the other.
Yeah. Well, you hear it all the time, how they compare, like, if you think that gay marriage is wrong, then that's equal to racism. It's like, whoa, there's totally difference here.
Right.
And this is what this is talking about. People try to say Christians are intolerant. You're just narrow-minded. And that's why they reject God. Ultimately, people reject God because they see Christians and what we stand for, and we're in a world that's accepting everything. And because you don't accept that stuff, you're ignorant, you're narrow-minded, you're a bigot, and therefore I reject you and your God. And so these movies are continuing to push that narrative that God, the ruler of the universe, and he's coming with anger and wrath of those who are rejecting him, which is true. But this is how Satan works. He gives you a lot of truth, a little bit of error. So like in the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, you hear the guy saying, I have a sacred mission, the bad guy, I have a sacred mission to create a perfect people. And then the next line, he's like, everyone you love will be destroyed. Well, that might be true. I mean, it might really happen.
It's also like kind of trying to make it seem like, well, if he's angry and wrathful, then he can't be loving.
Right.
But that's not true. You can be angry and wrathful and still be loving. I mean, God espouses all of that. So if he's angry and wrathful, then does he have a right to be?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
that's the question.
If someone hurt your kids, are you going to be angry about it?
You bet.
Yeah, you bet.
And if you're not,
you're going to protect
that shows how unloving you are.
Right.
So here's a little clip from the trailer. Take note of some things. These are 3 ships that are shooting lasers at all the aliens, which we understand. Anybody that's watching, I hope, understands that this whole alien thing is a demonic deception. Satan's trying to cause us to fear whatever's coming to earth, because we know biblically Jesus is coming to earth. So Satan is trying to make us fear what's coming and to actually potentially fight against what's coming.
Now Grygon's gonna blow everyone up? My friends need our help. You made a friend?
You will feel my wrath. Glorden?
Hi, Dad. I'm a bargaining chip. No, say the other thing. Oh, help me, Father. Quiet, you.
What is that unholy sound?
Wow. Is it called father?
Unholy sound.
I know.
Dude, nobody uses that terminology.
You don't,
man.
yeah. If he really was the evil villain of the world, he wouldn't care about holiness at all.
Right. Such a good point. So what was going on was these 3 ships are laser beaming his friends, because Elio, his whole thing, this whole movie is, I don't fit in. I don't have friends on Earth, and so he's trying to find, where can I find friends? And he finds these alien friends. And so if we understand that aliens are really demons in disguise, he's making friends with demons. This guy, who cares about holiness, apparently wants to destroy all that. Did you notice what happened with this being right here? This friend of his is the son of him. Yeah. What did he say about him?
About the father?
He
said that he was the bargaining chip.
Bargaining chip. What do you think of?
Well,
in exchange.
Yeah. Christ is our ransom.
That's right.
If it wasn't for Christ, we couldn't get to God. So to call him a bargaining chip, the son of the galactic ruler.
Yeah.
The only son.
The other thing that's crazy too is you're sitting here thinking about they're against him because of open-mindedness and tolerance.
Yeah.
And yet he has no friends.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like, he's in a place where it's completely open-minded and tolerant, but then he has nobody that he can.
Interesting.
That's on Earth. Though. See, he found his true friends are open-minded, but they're on another planet, I guess. So here's another clip from the movie.
Your life isn't up there, Elio. You need to make friends.
I just want to belong somewhere. All I ever wanted was to find a place to fit in. So if any aliens are listening, please come and get me. Okay, bye. I love you. It's really happening. Back home, I didn't fit in. Well, I like you. It's like I was always meant to be here.
Wow. You know, something that doesn't fit in. I mean, you see the story over and over and over again. You saw it with Santa Claus and the Misfits, right? Or the whatever, the little reindeers.
Oh yeah,
Rudolph's reindeer.
Yeah,
it's like the Misfits, and there's always this place for the toys or beans that didn't play along well with others.
Right.
They did that same sort of thing in was it Toy Story? Yeah, one of the things.
Ugly Dolls.
Ugly Dolls. They did it in. They did it in. I'm blanking on the names of these things.
No, it's tons of stuff. I mean, if you think about Suicide Squad, that's all about misfits
and all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Even the new Marvel movie Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of misfit superheroes or
So
anti-heroes.
why do you think that is? What's the message in that?
Well, the idea, if you think of who's a misfit in the universe, right?
Right.
God's created this perfect universe, and the only people that aren't going to play by those rules
Sympathy for the devil.
are here.
Yeah.
Every time. So if you always have these heroes that have more in common with Satan, and there's always this Cruella de Vil. They put out these movies based on the villains and make it a sympathetic story. Joker, oh man, they made fun of him. No wonder he's a suicidal maniac. Cruella de Vil, she was made fun of. Maleficent.
Yeah, they're all just misunderstood.
Yeah, sympathy for the devil every time. And so what 11-year-old kid feels like they fit in? He's 11.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in a world right now, social media, non-binary, 68 genders.
Puberty.
Yeah, I don't know what I am or who I am. I don't feel like I fit in anywhere. What's my clique? Mm-hmm. So what's the answer?
Aliens.
Yeah, let's try to summon the aliens because they'll accept me, right? Who's the one that accepts them? This demon maggot with teeth all the way through his body says, well, I accept you. I think you're cool. And he's tearing up. What message is you giving a kid? You know what? I don't fit in, and maybe I'm not. He said, I feel like I should have always been here. I don't fit in Earth. I feel like I should have always been here with the aliens. So I asked, is it common that 11-year-old kids feel like they don't fit in? It's like, yes, it's very common for children and preteens to feel like they don't fit in, especially during periods of significant social and emotional development.
Yep.
So this is targeting an audience that already feels this way.
Yeah.
It's direct target.
And I think when you lay the foundation at this age as well, I mean, much of the trajectory of life is probably formulated in those early years. So if you're planting these seeds in that early child's minds before you even see them get to the place where like, I don't fit in, it's like they've made those decisions way back here. So I think it's twice as dangerous to be aiming this at kids.
Yeah. So something different about this movie. We've seen a lot of movies about aliens and kids, E.T., Lilo and Stitch and all these things, but something in Alf, something that those shows and movies had in common was the alien comes to Earth, maybe crash landed or whatever. The kid or the humans, whoever they are, Well, at first they're kind of scared, but then they warm up to him. Oh, they're just trying to get back home. Let's try to get you back home. This movie does something that never has been done that I understand. And watch this clip and you'll see.
I'm trying to get abducted by aliens. Okay, come and get me.
What in the world?
So,
Okay, hold on.
yeah.
That's like crop circle stuff, you know?
Yeah, but that also kind of reminds you of a sigil.
It is a sigil.
Yeah.
It's 100% what it is. So
Yeah.
here you have a kid, I don't fit in, and it wasn't like I stumbled upon a crash landed alien that needs to get back home. I'm going to actively seek out aliens. And you have this fun character. He goes out into a field wearing literally this demon on his shirt, laying in a sigil and saying, aliens abduct me. Isn't that the perfect setup for Satan? He wants your children to actively engage, whether it's pull out a Ouija board, pull out the tarot cards, seances, whatever. He wants you to reach out to him.
Did you look this one up? That sigil?
So sigils, from what I understand, can be anything you want, and they
They
made like
can
that
be,
way.
but there are some that are already made.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
Oh,
we were
good.
looking at sigils from the Lesser Key of Solomon.
Yes.
And so those are already made, like they're known sigils
Right.
that summon specific demons for specific things. That's why I was wondering if you
Yeah.
cross-referenced it to see if it...
Well, for those of that, and you've done some research in this area too, a lot of times these people that actually claim they have been abducted into the spaceship or whatever, right? They are welcoming that situation to happen.
Yeah, they're out there.
You're either meditating or...
Even if you just see something fly by and you're like, oh, what is that? I want to know. You know, your curiosity is saying, I welcome you. I want to know more about you, rather than being like, oh, no, that's demonic or whatever.
I remember we had a show with Demi Lovato. Remember that? And she went out in the field with her friends, and we're like, you know, okay, what do we do now? How do we get this thing to come near? And then they were like literally actively meditating and asking for it to come close, and the ship showed up.
And it was a ship that split in two, which means it's defying physics, which means it's not physical. This is all spiritual. But this practice of meditating and summoning aliens, they'll actually use this terminology and everything, like summoning a demon. They literally will tell you summoning. I got this from History Channel. She's going to talk about the practice that's this growing practice.
Writer Amy Title explains the process is part of a new trend in UFO circles called CE5.
CE5 is a UFO summoning group. The people who are involved with CE5 use a special app, certain frequencies, and meditation to try to summon UFOs so they can see them.
What Scotty was talking about, there's actually a documentary on Little Light Studios called Disclosed, and it's all about this. It's 35 minutes, and it talks about what is this thing. We can look at it from all different angles, what the New Age believes, what religion believes, what science believes, and it always points to these things are not physical. You can escape the abduction experience by saying the name of Jesus. These things appear to occultists and New Agers and witchcraft and all that stuff. And here it is, they're telling you, if you meditate, these things will come. That's all we got to do. Like, that's how we make contact.
Right. I wonder too, like, many people have used the name of Jesus, right? Maybe they are not living the life according to Christ, and they are just, you know, way far out there. But there's power in the name. And by calling upon the name, you're inviting his presence, which God is much more powerful than the devil, right?
Yes.
So there must be some sort of rules of engagement with both of them. If you're calling the other one, you're giving them the reason to show up.
But when has God ever asked you to do this?
Yeah. If
To
you just
get
go out
an
to a
altered state of consciousness.
Right.
To enhance your sensitivity to make contact. He's like, no, just ask me. Like,
Amen.
You just say
that's,
it, you know, like,
all I
Lord,
need.
cry out to God.
I do believe there are rules of engagement. It's like a legal system. Satan doesn't, it's the old myth, you know, like the vampire can't come in unless you open the door or open the window. Satan's the same way. He doesn't have permission into our lives unless we give him that permission, but I think we do it in a million ways that we don't believe, we don't know about. Like, you bought that little fun statue from TJ Maxx. It's Buddha, but it's just decorative. Or you're doing yoga, or maybe you don't realize the harm in tarot cards. I just had it was at a party and somebody doing that. Any of those things, whether knowingly or unknowingly, you're giving permission to the satanic world to enter into your life, especially when you're doing this stuff. I'm going to meditate so I can see a UFO or something. But CE5, right here near the bottom, the second to last paragraph, it says, meditation and expanded awareness. Practitioners use deep meditation to achieve an altered state of mind state of consciousness believed to enhance sensitivity to potential contact with beings who may operate on higher dimensions. We're not talking about other planets here, other dimensions, the spirit world, and yet people are still blinded by this. They say, oh, they're from another planet.
This last one is interesting. It reminds me of astral projection. I know it's not, but it's almost like the invitation for that.
Yeah, I think it's very similar. The same way Satan can make you feel like you're coming out of your body and flying over another state or whatever, he can give you a vision of being abducted or whatever. I think fallen angels have the same power to give you visions. So CE5, there's the app that you can actually download to do this stuff. So this is not some corner of the web stuff. This is pretty trending stuff.
1,000 reviews.
Serious Technology Advanced Research.
Over 100,000.
Acronym for STAR.
Yeah.
What is?
Sirius is the brightest star in the
Solar system?
It's the ninth canon of the. It's basically what they get the dog star. I mean, that's a very occult.
Wow, yeah, that's Egyptian
star.
too.
Yeah.
What were you saying about the?
Well, the group that put it out, Serious Technology Advanced Research, the acronym for that would be STAR.
Oh,
If you took all that.
interesting. Wow, good catch.
Hey, subscribe to Little Studios en español. Vas a encontrar muchos videos de Little Studios que están traducidos en español y también contenido exclusivamente para nuestra audiencia latina. If you want to learn Spanish, a great way will be watching our videos for practice.
In this scene, he goes up to this like AI entity that's in the shape of an ouroboros, which is a snake consuming its own tail.
Right, and it looks like a bit like a snake.
Yeah, and this being, this thing that he's going to is made up of cards, we're going to find out. And it says, I have the answers to the universe. Think biblically, a snake that has wisdom, and you come to me and I'll give you all the answers, right? Here we see
the Universal User's Manual might contain the secrets of the universe.
And that the cards hold the secrets.
The cards hold the secrets. It's made up of cards. The Ouroboros made up of cards, secrets of the universe. And here we see that, what the Ouroboros is, this occult symbol. It has to do with death and rebirth. It's like the phoenix rising out of the ashes. It's all this occult stuff. And you see these cards have sigils on them.
Yeah, like some serious tarot looking stuff.
So sigils all through this movie about what? Getting answers, summoning aliens, is all the stuff that they're saying they do. And you know who this is?
Oh yeah, Grant Morrison.
Grant Morrison. This is a clip from 2000, 2001, something like that. He was at this thing called Disinfo Convention, and he's telling you how magic works. He's a self-professed magician, and he said, I always wondered how people got abducted by aliens. And he said, I went to Kathmandu to get abducted by aliens, and it happened to me, and anybody can do it. If you just make sigils, you can be abducted.
Wow.
Is there any practicing magicians in the audience? Put your hand up if we got any. Yeah, come on, bold. A few. Okay, by the time we finish this, you're all going to be practicing magicians. Like everyone here, we're trying to figure what's going on. Why do we feel different? Why don't we fit into this world? Why do we think that they're not telling us the truth? So I went out and I read Robert Anton Wilson's books when I was 20 years old. He says we can talk to aliens, we can talk to people from Sirius. Is he talking crap? He said Aleister Crowley's got methods for contacting alien intelligence and for changing the world. Is he talking crap? So I did it, and no, he's not talking crap, right? And we can all do it. When I started doing The Invisibles, which is a comic book for people who haven't seen the thing, it's a comic book which is kind of my attempt to explain what happened to me after I'd been abducted by aliens in Kathmandu in 1994. And the only reason I was abducted by aliens in Kathmandu in 1994 is because I went to Kathmandu in 1994 to be abducted by aliens. And it works! I found out that if you do these things that you're told by Aleister Crowley, by Wilson, by all these people we read and all these people we've been consuming, but we don't do it, if you actually do what they say, things happen. And we can all do it. So these things happen. Magic works. And when I started doing the comic, I found that you could actually make magic happen by writing things and changing the operating system of the universe. This magic works. So I'll tell you something you can do while I'm here. One of the best techniques and one of the easiest techniques to prove that this thing works is to practice sigil magic. First thing you do, write down a desire, make it something easy that is likely to happen, something possible. People like Austin Osman Spare, the magician from the early part of the century, or Crowley, or the chaos magicians from the 80s, who were a big inspiration on me. They used this stuff. And what you can do is this, like I say, try this at home. Write down a desire, take out the vowels, and you'll be left with a string of consonants. Take out the repeated consonants, and you'll be left with a string of consonants that have no repeats in it, whatever, X, Y, A, D, whatever. Turn that thing into a little image. Take the D, draw a big D, then you've got a T, draw a T under it, and keep reducing it down until it looks magical. And there are no rules for this thing. Do it until it looks magical. At that point, you now have a sigil. The sigil will work. You can project desire into reality and change reality. It works. This is verifiable. People have been telling us about this for thousands of years. The Tibetans have been telling us about this. The Mesopotamians have been telling us about this. And why has it been made occult? Because Coca-Cola have got the secret. These people know what we're talking about here, because what you do is you create a sigil.
Wow. So that speech he's given, I think it's kind of based on a book. And there was a book where they compiled from all these people who practice magic. And it was like a de-information or a debunking or a disinformation guide to like real magic or something like that, where they took all these people like Crowley, Morrison, et cetera, and said, tell us what magic really is. And his chapter in the book is called Pop Magic.
Oh, Grant Morrison was in the book.
It was in the book. His chapter was on sigils. Wow. I just came across this past week. And because we were looking at another video that had a book, but yeah, it was all on sigils, and he was saying like this same exact stuff. Wow. In this chapter, and he said sigils always work. He repeated it more than once in the chapter.
Yeah. He's saying take notes. Don't just you're basically saying like, you guys are dumb if you're just listening to this and go home and don't practice it. Do it because it works.
I know, it's scary to see a room full of people like this, and there's like a bunch of people that actually believe this.
Dude, that was the year 2000. Wow. This stuff is only getting more and more acceptable.
We used
now.
a clip of that in when we did the documentary on replacement gods, and so I haven't even actually seen that. That was nuts.
Yeah.
If you track everything he said with what we're talking about in this movie, he talked about Aleister Crowley summoning demons through sigils, and we have a kid laying on sigils, summoning demons. Wow. Well, aliens, what he said, you make a sigil, you can summon aliens. And he was saying, where'd it come from? Aleister Crowley. And then you see the all-seeing eye, literally in the clip, the same symbol.
Do you know why he says it comes from Crowley? Crowley was the one who edited the book, The Lesser Key of Solomon.
Oh, interesting.
He didn't compile all the information, but he edited it.
Wow.
And in that book are 72 sigils that summon 72 different demons. One of them, crazy. Asmodeus.
Yeah, crazy. He's what you see in the Joker.
Yeah.
So, they say when you invoke that one, you can't get rid of him. And basically, he'll make you mad.
And that's what happened to Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger. That's what it was. Heath Ledger, but even Jack Nicholson was like, I told him not to take that role, you know?
Well,
so, like you were talking about, I did try to compare these symbols with existing sigils that are out there. But you can see, it's like he said, you can
they're
make
free form. You can make them from whatever.
Of anything. And what do we see here? He's laying on the sigil, trying to be abducted by aliens. And that's what he said. He said exactly the key for summoning demons. Demons can't come unless you invite them. So what do? You go out to a field, you lay on a sigil and say, aliens abduct me. They're going to come. How many children are going to reenact this because they don't fit in?
Yeah. You know, usually when you're a kid and you lay on the ground like that, you usually see it in snow, like a snow angel.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that it's like he was laying on the ground like that.
And so this is a page about sigils.
You notice how in the center it has alpha et omega.
I did not notice that.
The W, it looks like a W, but it's an omega in Greek.
And
So
that's the
alpha,
symbol of
omega.
the sun in the middle.
It also has tetragrammaton in the top left.
What's the tetragrammaton?
Which is, in Hebrew, it's YHWH. Well, that's the
Yahweh.
transliteration in English. On the next side, it says Adonai.
Yeah, Michael.
Oh, wow.
And
It says
then,
Michael.
Elope.
yeah, I don't know what this one says. I can't see it upside down. And then there's another
Agla,
one.
Agla and Elope.
But at least two of the names in there it has Michael.
Cinnabon.
And some of the names of God in there.
In the middle, the circle with that plus is the symbol of the sun, Tammuz, cross of Tammuz, and all that. All these stars are inverted. All of them
I
point
was just
down.
about ready to say that.
Yeah.
They're all upside down in the same position.
With Maltese crosses.
Yep, Maltese crosses everywhere. And so this is the page of sigil magic, and you see it comes from Lesser Key of Solomon, like you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very satanic stuff that's in this movie. And it says, a sigil is a type of symbol used in magic. The term usually refers to a pictorial signature of a spirit, such as an angel, demon, or deity. In modern usage, especially in the context of chaos magic, a sigil refers to a symbolic representation of the practitioner's desired outcome. So the symbol itself represents a demon, and you get what the practitioner's desired outcome is, which is what? Derived from the Latin sigillum, meaning seal. In medieval magic, the term sigil was commonly used to refer to occult signs which represented various angels and demons which the practitioner might summon. You're using the symbol of a demon to summon a demon.
Yeah.
So when this kid's laying on a sigil, this is right in your face.
Yeah, it's like for whatever rules that they have to play by, they're saying without shadow of a doubt, this person is inviting me in there. Is basically what you're doing.
Yeah.
And most parents have no idea.
No
I
way.
mean, who's going to sit down and do this level of research?
Occult
on,
research, you know.
Like this particular character. It's like, they're gonna, my kids will like this story. It's about outer space.
And a Disney film.
Yeah. And it's about, don't bully people. Don't, you know, he needs friends, you know, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's always wrapped up in a package like that, acceptance. And Disney's taking off the gloves, man. They're coming after your children full blown. When Frozen 2, when Ella was saying earth, wind, fire, water, it's all about the earth spirit, the water spirit. I mean, that's that's already right in your face. But now we're talking about sigil magic and summoning demons, not, I stumbled upon an alien.
And that shows up in other cartoons, not just Frozen.
Oh yeah.
It was in Elemental.
Yeah.
Right? It was
Captain
also
Planet.
in Moana.
Yeah.
Captain Planet. You see the same thing in Voltron. You see the same thing in Power Rangers. All of that stuff.
Yeah.
You can go on their information pages and you can see how they're talking about how their characters are represented by earth, air, fire, water. It's all there.
There's a Disney series, a cartoon called Witch, WITCH, it was an acronym, and it was all about these witches, and at the beginning they're like, earth, wind, fire, water, all that stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you think about it, Christian parents, how many Christian parents would take their kids to a demon summoning place,
right?
Or would be in a place where that's happening, where that's happening, right?
No way.
But you put it on a screen where they are doing it with the kid, and the kid.
It's about how you package it, right? Because most people are going to be ignorant about sigils and things like that. They don't know what that is.
You're just taking part. Yeah, you're taking part in the a demon summoning place.
If there was a flyer at the mall that said, bring your children to the New Age convention where we will be summoning demons, you would say, there's no way. And you'd tear that thing down.
Yeah. Petitions.
But now it's like, wait a minute. See, Satan is so
be on 1 million moms.
Right. Yeah, and isn't that crazy that they couldn't get you to come to their meetings like that behind closed doors, but you can have the meeting in your house with the TV.
That's an invitation.
Is nuts.
So this was the original. No, it's not really. This was an AI generated thing.
Isn't it?
It's the same.
No, but isn't it in the trailer? Doesn't he lay down in like a pentagram?
Oh no.
No,
This
he doesn't.
I actually had ChatGPT make this.
I've never seen that. So
There is no difference in these pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, this is a different sigil. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But if it looked like this, parents would be more in tune with that symbol. This is actually a hexagram, but they would be like, "No way, you're not gonna watch some show like that." Oh, this one? Okay, yeah, let's go. Let's bring the whole family. What do you notice in this picture?
well,
Gems around, like crystals and.
Yeah, and that tends to be part of like the elemental magic. You know, they talk about calling circle.
Yeah,
like here he is in a circle.
Yes.
You know, and he's summoning what he wants to happen. So
Here he's on a rooftop surrounding himself in a circle of crystals, and inside his treehouse, again, with crystals, and he's got the alien on a whiteboard. I mean, this is like, this is vision board stuff, like divination. You write what you want, you put a picture on the board, you focus on that thing.
law of attraction type stuff.
So he's got literally what he's divining on the board while he's surrounded by crystals, and he's using technology to try and reach out to them.
To communicate.
Which Keith's done amazing research on. A lot of this technology started with occultists who were trying to talk to the spirit world through TV and phones and all these things. And so, yeah, this is, I'm not reaching. This is like really a practice that goes on. There's
people do it.
Videos of this stuff happening. She's got the crystals in her hands because they believe that crystals have the power to hear from the spirit world. Have you ever, when you were a kid, you ever put together a crystal radio? So there's a kit you can get from Radio Shack, which nobody even knows what Radio Shack is anymore, but there's no power in it. Like, there's no battery, but there's a little crystal and you hook these wires to it and a speaker and you can actually pick up radio stations just from the crystal. Wow. And so that's why they believe that crystals have power to pick up things that are out there in the air, you know, the prince and the power of the air.
And isn't that interesting that really the Bible describes, you know, God and Jesus as the rock, right?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like here they're using rocks essentially to
Well, God's kingdom is
communicate with.
full of precious stones and stuff, but
Yeah.
Satan is always counterfeiting, corrupting everything that God made. And so here's Aleister Crowley. Notice his hat has the all-seeing eye on it.
Yep.
But he was communicating with a demon called Lam, a Tibetan name. The Lam in Tibet means way, which is a direct counterfeit of Christ. But he saw this being. He saw what people today say are aliens, associated as aliens, but, and that's what Grant Morrison was saying, that Aleister Crowley knew how to talk to aliens. He used sigil magic, but it's a straight up demon. I mean, this was the wickedest man alive. And notice all the occult, I mean, all the ancient Egyptian symbology. So anytime you see this stuff, the one eye, all that, it goes back to this. And so I was saying that people are saying Disney did a bad job of promoting this. But if you go to a Disney park right now, you see him with his best friend, the alien, and it says, "Welcome to Elio's guide." Whenever I hear guide, I just think spirit guide, guided meditation, all that stuff, to an intergalactic adventure. And so to enter in, you have to walk through the portal. I mean, this is the portal that he was beamed up into the ship.
Interesting.
So the doors open, you're literally, I think all this is kind of like an interactive Bible guide for Satan. Wow. You know, it's like when you do a Bible study, the last thing you want somebody to do is, do you accept? Will you begin to follow Christ? Will you accept this doctrine or whatever? And when you write yes, or you actively say yes, and you get baptized, these are actions saying, I accept this, I do this. And so when you have video games, like, I can't remember the name of that video game, but it was like you have to choose, will you reject Yahweh? Remember that game? It was in the anime documentary.
Yeah. It was, I'm not going to remember it.
I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
But all these are like, Satan is getting you to a place where you're actively choosing, yes, I reject Yahweh. You walk through the portal, which is literally being beamed up to the aliens.
It's like Tenchi Agami or something.
Yeah, Shin Megami Tenchi. And it says, here you can let the aliens, just substitute the word alien for demons, you know what it is. Here you can let the demons know you're ready for the ultimate space adventure. Oh, and don't forget to smile.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just such propaganda. And then they put it on the wall, and parents are like, oh, go over there, let's take a picture. Now your kid is on the sigil. It's no longer just Elio. And the parents are actively helping their kids act out what's in the movie. Go lay on the sigil. I want to take a picture and remember this.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, go into the beam. Like you're being abducted by aliens. I mean, if watching the movie wasn't bad enough, now you have an interactive experience where your kids can actually do it.
Well, it's kind of a new thing too. People have always been like weary of being abducted.
Yeah.
Not like openly like, yeah, let's make it happen, you know. Exactly. I want to be abducted. Like it's a big positive thing.
But now all the new agers and everything are saying they're here to help us because our world is in chaos. That's not a mystery. Like everybody can tell. Even the secular people know our world is like crazy. And so I do believe, the military's on the news saying they're real. We talk to them. They're here, whatever. I believe when first contact comes, these demonic beings are going to say, we're here to help.
No.
We're going to get rid of pandemics. We're going to stop wars. Peace and safety. When they say peace and safety, sudden destruction will come upon them. And it's going to deceive millions. And if you don't embrace these all-knowing beings that are way more smarter than us, then you're going to be looked at as public enemy number one.
Well, if a lot of people see this as reality, or how movies can be put out, right? Jaws gets put out, and now everybody hates sharks, and every piece of water that they swim in, they're going to see sharks, right? So this is just planting in people's minds that, okay, you can communicate with these things, and they're here for our betterment, and whatever. And so as this develops, I guarantee you in the end of time, Satan is going to be coming out into communication with them.
And whatever wants to destroy the earth is evil.
Exactly. Yeah. And hey, we have the secrets to peace. This happened on our planet back at our home place. And, they did this and this and this. So don't do what they did to lose their planet.
Yeah. And people on earth don't accept you. We will. They're not open-minded.
We'll fight for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not open-minded and they don't have tolerance. Adventures are way more amazing with a partner. That's me and my bestest space bud, Glordon. So he's like, yeah, this is my friend. Look at the dude. If you came across something like this in real life, that would be horrifying.
You're right.
But Disney and Pixar, they know how to make this thing look fat and cute and chubby and
it can't really eat you because it can't move very quickly.
Yeah, it's like he's your best friend. So why don't you take a picture with me and my demon friend here? There are so many cool demons hanging out at the Communiverse. Zoom on over and say hi. Who are you saying hi to? It's the bad guy, aliens, but it's like, well, I guess not. He's the villain. These people are the friends. But it's like, they're taking you every step of the way. Lay on a sigil, get abducted, go hang out with the cool aliens.
Interesting how, he looks like he's either wearing armor or looks very robotic. But they're all smooth and colorful and bright and big, bigger, happier eyes, smiles on their faces.
Yeah.
They really know how to make one attractive versus the other.
That is so true, man. And so I'm sure you guys remember Roger Morneau and this clip, but in this, he talks about that demon spirits will manifest as visitors from far distant galaxies, and that they're actually going to be pushing for a Sunday sacredness thing. Listen.
The priest said that as the times on this planet gets more and more difficult, and calamities of all kinds are striking the planet more and more frequently, demon spirits are going to impress people with the importance of Sunday sacredness. And he said it's going to be done in a unique manner. Because he says demon spirits will declare themselves to be inhabitants of far distant planets in the galaxies that are coming to warn the inhabitants of planet Earth of the impending destruction of the planet unless something seriously proper is done to avoid it.
I really think we're in a time where our world's in chaos. Riots, pandemics, climate change, volcanoes, earthquakes. And he says that he was told by a satanic priest that Satan's going to appear as visitors from far distant galaxies to say, we have come to help. If you don't do some major changes, you're not going to survive. And part of it is the importance of Sunday sacredness. And here's your hero, whose name means sun god Sunday. Elio, Helios, the one eye, who is the sun god. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think all this is propaganda pushing towards a one world religion, pushing towards sympathy with the devil, embracing demon spirits who are, Satan's never come out with red horns and a pitchfork. A serpent in the garden, a dead loved one, aliens who are here to help. I think that's where we're coming to.
This is definitely planting a seed in the younger generation's mind. And, even if it takes till those generations grow up, which I don't think it's going to, I think we're here.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely one to be careful with.
Yeah, so I say boycott this movie. Don't let your kids see it. And
do some research.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is Satan's out here making these colorful cartoons to tell your kids that demons are your friends. Where are the Christians at? Like, I don't hear sermons teaching the truth about what aliens are. I don't see any like Christian cartoons like Superbook or anything saying, oh, we shouldn't trust these beings.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot more evidence trying to show that they're friendly or whatever.
Yeah, so we actually put together this book called Abby's Strange Dreams about a girl who's having encounters with an alien and with an angel that says you can talk to the dead and a dragon. And when things in her life start going wrong, her mom says you need to pray and put on the full armor of God. And that's when she sees their true colors. And she prays and puts on the full armor of God. And she says, and leave in the name of Jesus Christ. And they have to leave. And I want children to know when you're faced with something like this, because this is a common occurrence now. I get emails from people that said, so there was a situation where a woman said her and her daughter watched the UFO documentary on Little Light. In that documentary, they saw where some of these beings, these alien beings, appear as blonde hair, blue-eyed, human-looking things. And her brother is an atheist, and his wife. They have a 3-year-old son, and they called her because they were like, we don't know what to do about this. Will you come talk to our son? She went, and the little 3-year-old son said that every night 3 beings are walking through the wall, grabbing him by the ankles and trying to pull him through the wall. Oh, wow. And describe them as these blonde-haired, blue-eyed beings. And she said right then I remember that documentary on Little Light Studios. So she told him these things are demons and stuff, and she prayed with him, and he's never had the experience since. Because she knew what to do, now her brother and his wife are like, okay, maybe there's something to this whole Bible thing. Like, they're open to Bible studies now. And I just think it's so important. I mean, when Satan's spending millions of dollars putting out this message, the church needs to speak up. And so my personal experience was the church didn't talk about it, and I gravitated towards the occult because they were. So this book is a free resource, absolutely free. If you go to candidtruth.org and click on merchandise, there's a place to order the book. You can order it in bulk and give it out to all the kids you know, all the kids in your family, your church, whatever, and especially during a time like this when this movie's coming out. Nice.
You had a bunch of kids that you gave this to at a school. How'd it go over?
Oh, man. I've had more. So there was a fundraiser that made 2,000 copies of this, and that's why it's a free resource. They're gone. From January till now, they're gone. And people from other countries have even asked, but it costs too much to ship. But yeah, there's been whole Pathfinders groups, church groups that are getting this book because they see all this stuff that's coming out right now and that there's nobody talking about it. So as far as I know, it's the first spiritual warfare book for kids, and I just got the next shipment in of 2,000 copies. So get them while supplies last, and if you guys feel led to help keep this thing a free resource, that would be awesome too, and you can do that on the site. But I just think as Christians we need to talk about the truth, or else kids are going to be seeing this and say, man, aliens are our friends, and I know how to contact them. Crystals and sigils. Yep. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, Mikey, thanks for coming back on our channel, and we miss you. And
it's been awesome here. I miss you guys, man. It's so cool to be back.
Yeah, thanks for sharing this with us, and just keep doing what you're doing, man. He's out there. Check out candidtruth.org. You get more of this kind of stuff, and you can get the free book if you, we'll put a link in the description below.
If you like this video, like,
subscribe,
and hit the notification bell so you know when we launch new videos.
And drop a comment below, and we'll try to get back to you if we can. What?
Say that again.
No.
No, I don't know what to say.